Media.
Hey, it's Monday, here we go. It's the Call Me Tony Show.
Hey guys, it is Monday, March 17th. It is St. Patrick's Day. My name is Tony. This is my podcast and welcome to it. You know, when I started this podcast, my goal was pretty simple. I wanted to let people know me the way that my friends do, not through a polished or carefully curated version of myself, but through the kind of real conversations I have with the people who truly know me. And up until now, that's meant sharing my personal experiences, my observations, my philosophies, and my stories, which I've hoped to have offered a window into my life, my past, and how I see the world. And I think that's been valuable. It's definitely been honest and it's been real. But lately, I've been questioning whether that gives the full picture of who I am. Anyone who knows me well knows that I don't just reflect on my experiences. I also have strong opinions. And for as long as I can remember, I've never been the type to keep them to myself. Yet, for this podcast, I've held back. Not because I don't have anything to say, but because I wanted to leave room for people to relate to me without developing biases based on differences of opinion. I wanted to offer my experiences without turning this into a debate. But the more I think about it, the more I realize that holding back isn't serving me or you, probably. My thoughts, my perspectives, and the way I express them are just as much a part of who I am as my memories and my stories are. And if this podcast is going to be about authenticity, then I can't keep filtering what I say to avoid the risk of pushing people away. Now, looking back, I can see that this change has been coming for a while. When I told the story about my dad making me try eel before I could claim to hate it, the lesson was more than just about food. It was about the idea that opinions should be earned, that before we decide where we stand on something, we should at least experience it, test it, challenge it. And that's something I still believe in. And it's something that I want to embody in this podcast moving forward. I don't want to just share stories. I want to engage with ideas, my own and maybe even yours. I want to talk about the things that challenge me, the things I've tested, and the things I've learned the hard way. When I talked about truth and transparency, I said that I live without fear of exposure because I have nothing to hide. And that's still true. But I also think I've been selective about which truths I share. Not because I'm afraid, but because I've been hesitant to alienate anybody. And yet, when I told the story of breaking free from the person I used to be, I didn't hold back then. I laid everything out, who I was, the mistakes I've made, and the process of rebuilding myself into someone I could respect. That was one of the most personal episodes I've done. And if I could do that, if I could be that open about the things I regret, then why should I hold back when it comes to the things I believe? The truth is that there's no way to fully be myself without taking the risk of offending someone. It's unavoidable. But if my goal has always been honesty, then the real risk would be in not saying the things that matter to me. I'm not planning to turn this into an argument-based show. I'm not here to change anyone's mind, and I'm not here to prove anything, but I am here to speak freely. So what does that mean for this podcast moving forward? It means that you're going to hear more of my thoughts, unfiltered, unpolished, and exactly as I mean them. It means I won't be worried about whether my perspective might make someone uncomfortable. It means I won't avoid saying something just because it challenges the way people see me. And yeah, that might piss some people off. Some might disagree with me so strongly that they decide that this show isn't for them anymore. And that's okay. Because my goal has never been to appeal to everyone. My goal has always been to be real. And for those of you who stick around, my hope is that this shift makes our conversations even more meaningful. That even if we don't always see things the same way, you'll at least know what you're hearing from me is genuine. I don't want to be a version of myself that's palatable for everyone. I want to be the version of myself that's true. So, what can you expect from here? You'll still hear my stories. You'll still hear my personal experiences, but you'll also hear more of my thoughts about the things that matter to me, the things I wrestle with, the things I feel strongly about, and the things I think are worth saying, even when they're unpopular. I don't expect everyone to agree with me, but I do expect that if you're here, it's because you appreciate honesty, because you're open to hearing a different perspective, even if you don't share it. Because, like me, you value curiosity more than certainty. I don't need to be right all the time. I don't need anyone to agree with me just for the sake of it, but I do need to be honest. And if you're here for that, then I appreciate you. So let's see where this goes.